do have the two co-winners of Donkey Brain of the Year at the Tiffies on this card with
Yeah.
Jalen Turner and King Green. That is funny.
All right, welcome to another episode of Two Fight Fans. We talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Collin.
And I'm the other Stuart.
All right, we got 313 this weekend. Stu, are you excited for 313? Are your Ghiblis rumbled right now?
They're pulsating more than some pay-per-view cards, not as much as others, I guess.
Okay.
This is a better than some, not as good as others type pay-per-view card, I feel like.
You're half-masked right now.
Yeah, it's like, all right. Yeah, I'll get a little bit up for this, but I'm a man of a certain age. I can't get full masked all the time on command. Like, it happens, so... Yeah, so it's very common for people my age. Don't worry. Yeah, right. There's like some cool fights on here. There's some like very odd matchmaking we touched on last time. There's some like cool fighters in like weird matchups. I think mostly it's like an issue of like the way that they've actually built this card. What goes on pay-per-view? What goes on prelims? What goes on early prelims? That doesn't make sense to me. Why is Josh Fan and Ray Soria not, if not on the pay-per-view, the featured prelim? Why is it that we have King Green versus Mauricio Huffy, Orange Ruffy, whatever his name is? Like, why is that on the pay-per-view? Just kind of some weird stuff overall. But we're making picks, which means main event, co-main event, finish of the night, decision of the night, and underdog pick of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So, Collin, what is the main event going to look like? And why are you wrong to pick Magomed Ankalaev?
I'm not wrong to pick Magomed Ankalaev. Come on, stop. Don't put that on me. No, like I think I made a prediction about this earlier. I think the first round, at some point, Magomed Ankalaev is actually going to take Alex Pereira down, and we're going to see Alex Pereira in a little bit of trouble. And even though we've talked about like Ankalaev is not a wrestler first person, I think he will actually utilize some takedowns to some success, and he may even steal the round with that. You know, like whatever. You know, I actually think it's possible he might take the first round, or even in the beginning, he might go for a takedown, but then they'll be able to like get their way back up, and then inexplicably he'll just go, I will not do any more of that, and I'm just going to try to stand and bang with Alex Pereira, and then he's going to get knocked out. So I think in a preview of what we will talk about on early next week, that will be your donkey brains moment of the night. So I'm making double predictions in that Ankalaev will find success with some takedowns, with some wrestling and grappling, and then inexplicably stop doing that and try to just do a stand-up war with Alex Pereira and just be knocked into like 3 weeks from now.
Now that's interesting. Let me illuminate some stats for us.
Great. Hit me with them numbers.
So I'm going to go through every one of Ankalaev's fights in the UFC and tell you the number of takedowns he got in each fight.
All right.
Paul Craig, 0. Kitson Abreu, 1. Dalcha Lagiambula, 1. Iwan Kutalaba, 0. Rematch with Iwan Kutalaba, 0. Now, Nikita Krylov, 3. Interesting. 1. Volkan Demir. 1. Thiago Santos. That was a 5-round fight, too. 0. Anthony Smith. 2 against Jan Blachowicz, which is, of course, the fight where he got the shit kicked out of his legs for 3 rounds because he refused to wrestle and then finally realized he needed to get a takedown. 1 against Johnny Walker, and then he immediately kneed him in the head as a ground opponent. 0 against Johnny Walker in the rematch. 0 against Alexander Rakic. For 15 minutes of fighting, he averages 0.9 takedowns every 15 minutes, and his takedown accuracy is only 30%.
Yep.
As much as we talk about Ankalaev being a grappler, I don't think he likes grappling. He seems to really only go to that when it's made, like, when it is impossible to ignore that he's getting the shit kicked out of him. And I wonder, because he took 3 rounds of getting shit kicked by Jan Blachowicz before he even started wrestling.
Mhm.
He had a tepid fight with Thiago Santos and got dropped. And this is 2022 or 2023 Thiago Santos. Washed as hell Thiago Santos. And he still stood with him for 5 rounds and only went for 2 takedowns and only achieved 1. Like, I don't think you can dick around in the way that he does with Alex Pereira and then, like, come out the other side. You can do that with Johnny Walker and Anthony Smith and Rakic. Not Alex Pereira, man. I don't know how good Alex's takedown defense. It really hasn't been tested to this point,
Mhm.
other than that Jan Blachowicz fight. But I got to imagine he knows that that's all he really needs to be focusing on, and he has been making huge improvements with Glover Teixeira. I also go like, when has Magomed finished someone on the ground? That doesn't really happen, you know? Like,
Right.
he is on the ground, but he doesn't finish people there.
Yeah.
So I actually think probably if we are going to see a takedown from Ankalaev, it's not going to come until round 3 if he makes it that far.
Oh, okay.
It's like one thing we do know is that Alex Pereira does struggle a little bit more against southpaws. That was like how Khalil Roundtree had success, was being southpaw with Alex Pereira, open him up. I think Izzy was Izzy southpaw? No, he wasn't. But for long stretches of their first MMA fight, went southpaw, and Alex had less effective offense then.
Mhm.
Jamal Hill even called out that like he thought that because he was southpaw, he had a good chance against Alex Pereira, which, you know, Jamal Hill, donkey brain to the max, but at least possibly accurate on that call. And Ankalaev is a southpaw. Like, I wonder if Ankalaev has thought, I can strike with him. I'm a southpaw. If Khalil Roundtree can do it, I can do it because I have better technique standing. The issue is he just has no kind of like internal fight strategy awareness of like what's the right thing to do when.
Wait, do you think Ankalaev's striking is better than Khalil Roundtree's?
I think his technique, like if you looked at like, hey, are you like turning your hips properly? Are you returning your punches directly like back to guard or back to like a chambered position? Does he like tuck his elbow appropriately when he's throwing his hook rather than letting it flare out? Like I would say probably if you're just looking at the mechanics of his strikes, he's better. And he is a pretty slick counterpuncher. But he was against Rakic. It's just like he never presses forward. He never like when he hits on a moment of success, like, oh wow, this my counter right hook is really working. He doesn't go, oh great, I should try to like build towards like bringing someone into that punch to get the knockout. He's just like, huh, I guess that worked. Let me try something else. And he has no like methodology, whereas at least Khalil Roundtree has a methodology to it and is like definitely hits harder. So I think like Ankalaev is a better technical striker, but Khalil Roundtree is a more effective striker with his skill level. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Like from a pure technique standpoint, Magomedov Ankalaev has a better handle of how to throw certain strikes, but doesn't actually use anything with that skill. Whereas Khalil Roundtree may not have as sharp or crisp striking, but he's able to pick his shots way more and set things up to way more effective fashion.
Right. It's like kind of like Alex Pereira is like, I wouldn't say he's technically better than Izzy's striking, like his technique, but like he definitely knows how to be like, look, I don't really have a great variety of punches. I just need to get everyone to run into my left hook, and I just need to throw these kicks. But he
Mm.
doesn't even throw his kicks with like the proper textbook technique, right? And he
Mhm.
can get away with that. But Ankalaev does seem to like he does seem to come out of a textbook about like here is the proper way to strike, um, if that makes sense. He just
Okay.
doesn't. He doesn't have the brain thinking to actually implement that in a massively effective way most of the time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I
Well, tell
let,
me, what's your
let's
pick
do
on this then?
let's do a side bet.
Oh,
Ankalaev
okay.
will get no more than 2 takedowns in this fight, and
Okay. Okay.
he will still lose. Third round TKO. Alex Pereira remains champion. But here's also my thing. Oh, so you're picking Pereira second round TKO?
Yeah. And I'm saying, I think, go back to like 10 or 15 episodes when we did our end of year predictions. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I said. I said Ankalaev might steal the first round with one takedown or something. But Pereira's going to knock his ass out in the second round. Like,
Yeah, I think he will. Like, I mean, the biggest thing that it strikes me is like Ankalaev never aggress. Like he, can you name what type of takedowns Ankalaev gets?
no. Like,
Yeah,
but it is one of those where, like, because we don't really know Pereira's, like, counter grappling, like, I could easily just see him kind of going for a single leg and just kind of, like, using his weight to try to, like, pull him down, you know? Like, nothing, like, super technical, nothing that you would see, like, from a DJ or Daniel Cormier or anything like that, you know? It was just kind of like a sloppy fall down thing.
yeah. But I guess like I don't even know enough about like Ankalaev doesn't even have much of an offensive wrestling. Like, because if we ask like, okay, what do the Abdulmanap camp, the Khabibs and Islams do? They drive you into the fence, then they dive on your leg, and then they chain wrestle as you're up against the fence and pull your legs out from underneath you. They
Right.
grab you from like a clinch position. If it was a George St. Pierre or like a Colby Covington or a Kamaru Usman, it's power double legs or like grabbing a single, running the pipe, right? We understand like these different variations of like what takedowns they set up. Charles Oliveira was primarily trips from from a clinch exchange. He has now added like double legs in that Michael Chandler fight, but I can at least list out these are the ways these people take him down. I don't Ankalaev just kind of like yeah, like
Yeah, that's why I said,
nothing.
like, that's why
Yeah.
I said, like, a sloppy single, like, basically knowing that he has to just grab onto a part
Mhm.
of Pereira and just kind of drag him down. Like, it's not like a defined technique. It's more
Yeah.
just like trying to muscle someone down.
But that makes me think because Alex Pereira is so fucking huge and every day seems to grow an extra 1% larger. He's going to be like Godzilla in Tokyo soon. Like he just is so massive. Like can you just muscle down someone that freakishly huge? Like I don't even know if that's possible.
I don't know. I know that Pereira's big, but Uncle Ive is pretty big too. But
Not like Pereira, man.
not as big as Pereira. But yeah, but still, he's strong. But again, it's not going to be that many. And I am shocked that they are basically dead even in odds.
Yeah, it's well, I think it's a weird thing where like people just see the number of K's and V's in Magomed, like because Magomed Ankalaev looks like Islam Makhachev, right? He looks like oh, he's a Dagestani fighter. He must be a dominant ice smash grappler. He's a Chimaev. He's a Nurmagomedov. He's a Makhachev. But he's not. He's none of those guys. But I think you just have betters and bookies knowing it as well that like, oh, that's what it is. And there has been this like constant refrain around Alex Pereira's career, which is like, but once he runs into a wrestler, it's all over. Like the way to beat Alex Pereira is actually just to be like an amazing wrestler. It just turns out that there actually aren't any of those in the light heavyweight division, so it doesn't matter. And I think there's kind of a thing where because the light heavyweight division sucks so much, that
Mhm.
even being a pretty not even very good grappler, Magomed Ankalaev, and a pretty reluctant grappler, people go, well, he's the kryptonite. But it's like, but he's actually not that great of a grappler. He's actually a striker who secretly hates grappling, but does it when he's picking a striking fight, right? Like that's right. You could say like, oh man, as soon as you run into a grappler, like this person's not gonna be able to do it. But if the bantamweight division didn't have Umar Nurmagomedov and Merab Dvalishvili and Piotr Yan as wrestlers, like Sean O'Malley, we would just pick the next best one and go, well, once he runs into that guy. But like, of course, Sean O'Malley can beat mid-tier grapplers. That's what's allowed him to be in the elite tier. And I think that's
Mhm.
kind of what's going on here is it's people go, well, Uncle Live is the grappler in this division. He's like, but he's not even that. He's not. He's just the only one that actually knows any grappling at all. Um, and it's pretty easy to like, especially if you're Alex Pereira, which like an elite level athlete, like you could probably pick up first line takedown defense, like a good sprawl pretty easily, you know?
Mhm.
So, hey,
Well,
yeah,
I
no,
lost.
it's Alex Pereira,
Yeah,
third
yeah,
round. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We're in agreement on that.
yeah,
So
yeah. All right. This
Yep. Yep.
this fight, Justin Gaethje, Rafael Fiziev. Look, the first fight was good. I went back and I watched it. It was a good fight. It was a very entertaining fight. It was 5 rounds. It was awesome. It is a
Okay.
little
Yeah.
sour grapes because it's like it could have been Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje,
Yeah.
and that would have
Yeah.
been so good. And this could still be good. Here's my thing, Collin.
Mm.
Where is Justin Gaethje at in his career? And on the flip side, where's Rafael Fiziev at in his career?
That's the bigger question, okay? Because honestly, Rafael Fiziev is they're both okay. How old is Rafael Fiziev? He's 32. Yeah, he's a little bit younger, but he doesn't have nearly the miles on him that Justin Gaethje has,
Yeah.
but he is coming off of a 2-fight losing streak. Hasn't didn't fight at all last year. Wait, what the fuck? Was he injured or something?
Yeah, he blew out his knee. So it was only 2 fights ago when he fought Justin Gaethje. Or I guess 1 fight ago, because he fought Justin Gaethje, lost, and then he fought Mateusz Gamrot and blew out his knee.
Right. Okay.
And that was the September of 2023. So yeah, he's been rehabbing, I think, an ACL surgery.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. So this is also kind of do or die for him as well right now, coming off an injury like that. And, there's going to be ring rust. Justin Gaethje is coming off of a major, like knockout loss. And
bad one.
Yeah. And on paper, I feel like Justin Gaethje still has the advantage on him. But it is one of those things like, just like you said, like there was the what could have been with Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Also, did you see Dan Hooker's like picture he posted of his hand surgery?
No, I saw like he broke his hand and it was all fucked up, but I didn't.
Yeah, no, he like showed like on his Instagram, like basically they had to like cut way into his hand. It looked like they had to like surgically reattach or fucking like realign. But I don't know what he did, but like it was like that's going to be a tough injury to recover from for someone who is a like hard hitting striker like Dan Hooker. That's concerning to me. But that's an aside point. Justin Gaethje is also at a turning point. He's late in his career. What does he fight? Is he going to push for one more like title shot? I don't know. Like it's I don't know. I got kind of bad vibes from this fight. I'm still rooting for Justin Gaethje. I still think he's going to pull out the win, but it's almost like, what's the point of this fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly to keep getting paid, right? Like, he needs the money.
Yeah. I mean, if he gets a bonus, he'll join Cerrone in making over $1 million in bonuses, right?
Yeah, and like it's mostly just I mean, what it really comes down to is it's not anything about either of these fighters. It's the UFC machine going, we just love to plug up holes when fights happen and fall out, rather than thinking, should we just kind of delay Justin Gaethje fighting by 2 months, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing this. I'm surprised to see Justin Gaethje as the underdog and Fiziev almost a 2-1 favorite. That's a little strange to me. Maybe it is.
He's a slight underdog.
I see him as plus 136, but Fiziev is minus 162.
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't know. We saw Justin Gaethje beat Rafael Fiziev last time, and that was Justin Gaethje losing the first round, remembering in classic Justin Gaethje fashion, always forgetting when he first starts a fight that he has a jab, then remembering he has a jab, and then using that to absolutely brutalize his opponent by jabbing their face off, right? Like, that was kind of also like what happened in the Max Holloway fight. Like, he just like forgot he had a jab the entire fight until like round 5, and by then it was like far too late to do anything. Yeah, so like, if Justin Gaethje goes out there, he said what he's aiming to do is like what he thought he did wrong in the Max Holloway fight was be too passive, like try to be too technical rather than being aggressive, which I agree with, right? Like, he didn't try to back up Max Holloway at all. He tried to like kind of bounce and like pick his shots, and like you just can't do that with Max because he'll overwhelm you with volume and get you. So to be aggressive, and like what we saw is Rafael Fiziev gassed out in their last fight, and it wasn't short notice. And like Fiziev does have a tendency to gas out around round 3. and struggles with heavy pressure behind jabs. And I'm like, so if Justin does stick to that game plan and his body holds up, because did you see that video of Justin Gaethje, like where they kept the camera on him, like the camera feed? They didn't post it during UFC 300, but like what he looked like in the ring after the knockout, when they cut away to like Max celebrating.
Oh, when he was like face down on the ground.
Yeah, and then like getting up and like his body not working and like it looked like just he looked like in a bad way.
Yeah, yeah,
Now he has taken almost a year off since then, but still like the the body keeps score on that. Like he's not going to be as durable as he
yeah.
once was. But at the same time, Rafael Fiziev blew out his knees coming in on short notice after a knee surgery. And like the book has already kind of been written on this fight dynamic, so
Yeah.
I gotta pick Justin Gaethje decision. I think it'll be the same thing as last time. Yeah, unless like Justin Gaethje's chin is really shot and Fiziev is fast enough to really crack him. Like so, it could be if Gaethje's chin is really kind of cracked. But
Yeah.
I say Gaethje decision.
Yeah, I was also going to say Gaethje's decision, but it is one of those like it's one of those ones where you have, for me at least, like in the pit of my stomach, I've got this like, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Like I could easily be like extremely heartbroken because like he's just a little bit slower or a little bit tentative, taking that time off to recover, and Fiziev just catches him, within like the first like 2 minutes, and.
Yep.
It would really break my heart if that happened.
Yeah, and like we know that Gaethje got his nose absolutely blastigated by that spinning kick that Max hit him with, and had to have reconstructive surgery. Like the nose becomes easier to break again, so it's like, does he just get hit by a hard punch? His whole nose explodes again, and then kind of like Rory McDonald towards the end of his career, just every fight his nose broke, and just how much pain that caused him, and like took away from his ability to really perform. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities the way this could go, but if everything kind of holds steady in Justin Gaethje's body, he should be able to do this.
Yeah. I'm hopeful. So
yeah. Cool. So we're aligned on that, and now we get to the weird part of this card, where it's just a bunch of kind of weird shit. So
yeah, just whatever here. So
yeah, tell me your pick for which fight will go to a finish, and what that finish will be, and who you think is most likely to get that finish.
Well, okay, here's the thing. We're tied in 10-10 right now, but you won like the last card in that you scored like 1 point and I got like 0. Mm-hmm. So I think you get to pick first this time because we're not allowed to pick the same fights for each of these.
Absolutely.
So I think you get to pick first this time for finish.
Now here's my thing. I could easily be shooting myself in the foot.
All right.
I'm gonna go with the heavyweight fight.
No, dude, that's a safe bet, man. It's Curtis Blades. Come on.
There's Van Kuniev off of the Contender Series, who, look, man, I love me a good deli meat counter server, but this guy looks like he works at a deli counter. This does not strike me as an elite athlete. Curtis Blades only loses to Francis Ngannou and Tom Aspinall. Like, he only loses to people that hold, like, that have had gold around their waist. And then I guess Sergey Pavlovich. But like, no one else in this division can stop Curtis Blades' takedowns, and Riznan Kuniev cannot do it either. Like, what is to stop Curtis Blades from just taking Kuniev down and ground and pounding him super fast?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say TKO Curtis Blades. Fuck it, round 1, man. Like, that's what I say. So as long as I get a TKO, or otherwise, what happens when Curtis Blades loses? It's never a decision. It's he runs directly into an uppercut from hell and flatlines himself. You know what I mean? So it's one of these big boys is gonna fall, and my bet's probably that Curtis is gonna be the one knocking the other dude out. But I'll be sad to see if he does lose to Rizvan, because it's like he really is only one of 2 interesting heavyweights in the UFC.
Yeah.
But that's my pick. Got to go with the big uglies. And look, if it goes to 15 minutes, I mean, like, may God have mercy on us all. Like, that's a bad fight. Yeah. All right.
we talked about this, and I like know a handful of people on this
Uh-huh.
card. You know, I'm going for kind of a. I didn't realize this until like earlier today. I'm going for someone who I know nothing about, and just like you, I might be shooting myself in the foot on this. I am saying Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes. I
Yeah.
don't know how to say his last name. Is going to
Yeah.
knock out Jalen Turner.
Interesting. Now, here's my thing. Jalen Turner was going to be my underdog pick for this
Oh,
card.
nice, nice.
So, if you've now taken away my ability to bet
No,
on
no,
him,
no, no, no. We just
oh,
can't pick the same one per category.
okay. Well, then let me jump in so we can talk about this fight. Why do you think Ignacio Bahamondes is going to defeat Jalen Turner?
Dude, this is a plum pick right here, man. I'm looking at this guy. He's got a chiseled jawline, muscles for
Mhm.
days, nice hair, and apparently 8 first round finishes and 11 wins by knockout. So you know what? Fuck it, go with this guy.
Okay. Possibly. I
Also, Jalen Turner has massive donkey brains. So
we do have the two co-winners of Donkey Brain of the Year at the Tiffies on this card with Jalen Turner and King Green. That is funny. Jalen Turner is actually like very skilled though. Like
he
Ignacio
is.
Bahamondes is like a fun mid-tier action fighter who never
Yeah.
is gonna break. Like that's the vibe he gives me in the fights that I've seen. Like
Mhm.
he benefits from the thing at lightweight that Jalen Turner also benefits from, which is being 6'3", just being a big, tall dude.
Dude, that's fucking tall.
Yeah, I mean this is classic like not donkey brain, like meathead matchmaking. They just saw that there's two lightweights that are 6'3", and they're like, make them fight. That's that's the qualifier. Make them fight.
Hey, yeah, it's two kaijus fighting each other. I'm with it.
But like Jalen Turner is like skilled and like technically developed and like crafty and feints and like knows how to like kind of strategically think about the right way to win a fight. Whereas Bahamondes is like, I go out there and throw punches. Um, I don't think he has the fight IQ or like the actual technical savvy, right? Like no feinting. He doesn't like really when you are like find success with the right hand, you need to be using your other tools like your kicks and your jab to lead people into that right hand because you have success with it, rather than just going like, well, now it's time to just start spamming hooks. Now that that right hand landed, right, you need to be like a little bit more methodical. Jalen Turner is that. Now he does want to have walk off KOs. Hopefully he's learned from that mistake. But yeah, he's my under. I was surprised to see he was an underdog because he's in the top 13 and he has beaten previously ranked opponents and Bahamondes has 100% not.
Mhm.
Yeah, he goes out there and he swangs, and that can work for lower level guys, but probably isn't going to work against Jalen Turner.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So you're picking him for your underdog fight then.
Yes.
You want to just go straight to underdog then?
Yeah. Well, tell me how you feel, Bahamondes. You think it's a KO in what round?
Oh yeah. I'm saying TKO round 1. He's gonna add to his fucking
Round
list.
1. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And I think if that's gonna happen, Jalen Turner will smoke him probably. Yeah.
Okay, but you're
It's
saying Bahamondes will be your underdog.
No.
Win.
Jalen Turner's my underdog.
Oh, Jalen Turner. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jalen Turner's my underdog. Yeah, it's like it's again like when we talk about like weird matchmaking on this card. It's like you see this and you're like, well, they're two action fighters. It's kind of fun. But then you look at it and you're like, what does this fight really mean? What is this fight really about? And then you realize like it's like, oh, the matchmakers just saw that they're two tall guys and they're like, cool, let's have them fight.
Yep.
Yeah, another weird one. All right. Well, why don't you do your underdog pick then?
All right. What happened here? Okay. A lot of these again are like fucking kind of plum picks here, man. Like I did not do a lot of research on some of these,
You're
but
killing me, son.
yeah, come on, like whatever, fuck. My underdog pick is going to be your favorite division, middleweight, baby. Bruno Ferreira beating Arman Petrosian.
I mean, you're probably look. It's middleweight, so like that might actually be an okay bet. Like, I think Arman Petrosian will probably win, but like, that's not a bad bet. That's not terrible. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Do we have to say how our underdog is going to win?
No. Just that
Okay, good.
they are
That
like
they're
what
going
you're
to win.
placing the bet on. Now, see,
Okay.
if I could pick Justin Gaethje, I would, but we've already picked him, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
surprisingly an underdog. I already did Jalen Turner, so now I guess I should let you go first for
Oh no, I
which fight
think you get to pick for a
which
decision
fight will
now.
go to a decision.
Yeah, and I feel like I know what you're going to pick.
Buddy, you know it.
Yeah, I know.
It's Amanda Lemos.
Yeah.
Yasmin Lucindo.
Oh
You
my
see women's
god.
strawweight in a fight, and you go, "That's a decision waiting to happen." I can't wait for that full 15 minutes. Yeah,
Oh man. All right. All right. And what do you get 1 or 2 points if you get the
just
right
one,
one? Just one?
just
Okay,
one.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. All right. For my decision, I think it's gonna be Josh Van and Ray Surya.
interesting. So you think Josh Van won't be able to finish Ray Surya?
I don't think so, because I think there's gonna be he's gonna have the advantage on the striking, but there's gonna be a lot of like, okay, he gets the advantage and then he'll like press him up against the cage, and then Ray Surya will do his like crazy like chain weird grappling to get him
Yeah.
down to the ground.
Yeah, that could be right. Now, what is weird is that like Ray Surya he's not a very good striker
No,
overall. Yeah, his significant strike defense is only 50%. It's not great.
no.
Though he doesn't really absorb anything, mostly because he takes people down. So it could just be something of like Josh Van constantly on the defense, tagging Ray Surya a couple times so he wins on damage, and that's how he
Mhm.
goes to decision. I mean, this is like one of the better fights on the card. Like I am
Oh
very
yeah,
interested to see this.
I really want to see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm. It's pretty much the only undercard fight that I'm like excited for.
Yeah. It is I find a little weird like talking about kind of like the career of Josh Van and like career management that they have put him up against right after fighting who did he just fight? Is it something Durden, right?
Yeah,
Cody Durden, yeah. Who's like mostly just spammed takedowns constantly. He isn't like necessarily the savviest grappler, but like a very hard-nosed American wrestler to kind of see if Josh Van had takedown defense. And it was very clear he could defend these takedowns quite a bit. So it's weird to immediately give him essentially like the same test again, being like, what are you going to do against a very like strong grappler?
yeah, but Ray Surya's grappling is weird. Like,
yeah,
it's
not.
a very different kind of grappling.
Yeah, that's true. It's just you feel like you want to give him a minute to just like, how about you have like a fight with like Kai Asakura or like have a fight with like another striker, right? There are
Yeah,
strikers in the top 15. Yeah. But definitely interesting. And like if Ray Surya can beat Josh Van, like I've had a little bit of reservation about him. I was pretty hyped, but since he doesn't seem to like deal a ton of damage when he gets into these grappling situations, right? He doesn't have enough like ground and pound to like actually
right.
change the momentum of a fight. I've been
No,
a
he.
little less hot on him, but
Yeah,
yeah. But an interesting fight. Like I definitely think this should be on the pay-per-view. Like I don't know
yeah,
what King Green and Mauricio Ruffy are doing there, or Amanda Lemos, Yasmin Lucindo. That doesn't make any
yep.
sense. Any other fights you want to talk about? I guess we got to call out King Green, Mauricio Huffy. What do you like? Here's my thing. Mauricio Huffy, not a very good fighter at all. And, well, just like not like right. Like he does the kind of like Robert Whitaker, Henry Cejudo, Kyoji Horiguchi, like kind of like karate boxing thing,
Mhm.
where he like stays way at a distance, bounces on his toes, and then like leaps forward with 1 or 2 strikes. And like King Green knocks people out. Like that's his whole thing is just standing there and waiting for you to overcommit and then knocking you out.
Yeah,
So I'm like, this should be a layup for King Green, but King Green lost to Patty Pimblett, so I can never pick him again. You know what I mean? Like if you've lost to Patty Pimblett, I can never pick you.
I feel like Mauricio Huffy is the first person I've seen, and granted, I haven't looked at too much of these like in-depth stats that has a 0% takedown accuracy.
Yeah, because I think he doesn't ever.
No, he's attempted 1 takedown and landed 0. So
there you go. Yeah, no, he's like a weird. He's like a bargain bin, like karate, like Lyoto Machida, right? Like a really bargain bin.
Machida, damn.
Yeah. So and like if you're not like really on your P's and Q's with that fight style, like that's not going to be good, especially against an effective counter striker. But who knows? King Green might shoot his own takedown so that Mauricio Huffy can get a takedown and choke him out. Like, who knows? Or like King Green will go, I'll try to do the karate thing, right? Because it's like, why did he shoot for that takedown? It doesn't make any sense. Why would he? I don't understand it. Anyway, so I can't pick King Green. A weird fight. This should definitely be on the prelims. Yeah, that's about it on the card. Oh no, wait. Now I went back and forth about whether I would pick this person as my underdog pick.
Okay.
And you know what?
Alex Morono?
I'm actually removing my pick from Jalen Turner as my underdog. Mark my words, if it does happen, I'm standing behind our boy, the most unathletic man in the UFC, Alex Morono, against a man who looks like he's carved out of steel, and is a minus 900 favorite, Carlos Leal. But you know what? Nah, man, Alex Morono.
All right.
Here's my thing. Alex Morono lands half as many punches as Carlos Leal lands over a 5-minute fight. He absorbs about half as many as well. It looks like Carlos Leal just like runs forward and like is willing to eat 7 punches to land a punch. And Carlos Leal just definitely looks cut up from the butt up, just chiseled, man. Alex Morono's old and gasses and is unathletic. But the boy's got skills. The boy's got techniques. He picked up his samurai manuals. He picked up all these books. He did his katas. Like, I'm about that. And so I'm actually going to put my underdog pick behind Alex Morono, showing
I
that
love it.
Technique can beat explosive athleticism. Yeah. In this dark world where cynicism and evil has been winning pretty routinely, I gotta stand behind the light of truth of saying, like, actually training to be a martial artist and dedicating yourself to getting better at a craft is a worthwhile thing. So
I love it.
Let's go, Alex Morono. Let's go.
I love it. You know what? That's a ballsy pick, and if you get that, you don't just get 1 point. You get like 4 points for that. If the Great White overcomes.
Yeah. Like, goddamn. Come on, Alex. He probably won't. He's probably gonna get flatlined in about 35 seconds. But I'm gonna be watching intently that fight.
Yeah. I love it.
So that's 313, right? Weird.
Yeah,
it's like definitely the right fight for Alex Pereira, but it's not as sexy as like the Khalil Roundtree one.
No.
We get like an okay replacement. I mean, like Fiziev and Gaethje is still like a good fight. Like, it was a good fight when it first happened, but they're just at a weird part in their careers. Then a strawweight fight, who cares? King Green, like Curtis Blades, Ray Surya, Josh Van, like, wow. Alex Morono. Why are they doing Alex Morono dirty? They could have given him like Michael Chiesa, like somebody who's kind of washed up in the welterweight division. And they're like, no. Let's find the most athletic dude that we found on like a beach in Brazil, and let's have him beat up nerdy Alex Morono. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's UFC 313. A weird card. But we have so much more to talk about, Collin.
Yeah.
Tell me about this Dana White Turkey Al-Sheikh boxing thing.
Yeah. Apparently, Dana White and TKO, the parent company of the UFC and WWE, brokered an agreement on some sort of deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh to create a brand new boxing league. And I didn't see any specific details that came from it, but I don't know if it's in conjunction with the Riyadh season, if it's like, if that's like Riyadh season's rebranding now in the future. I really don't know I don't know if it's like they're going to create their own belt. Like, I have no idea what this is going to be like, so, but I just know that Turkey Al-Sheikh has been like, signing fighters left and right, and my big concern actually with this, and I don't know how it's going to, I don't know how it's going to, whose influence going to play in more, Dana White or Turkey Al-Sheikh, because my big concern with Dana White getting into boxing is he's going to like take the money out of boxing and pocket it himself and basically gut it, just like how he's done MMA, so that boxers won't get paid the way some of them have been getting paid. But Turkey Al-Sheikh is the one with all the money. So I don't know if he'll have more say and be like, no, like, here, here you go, fighters. This is what you get paid.
Oh, this leads perfectly into another segment of Colin's crystal balls.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say 3 things before we jump into that. One,
Okay, hit me.
Turkey Sheik, it's like very routinely that they like basically take a bath every time these cards are put on. The Better Beef Bivol fight card, that absolutely stacked boxing card, which was a Riyadh season card, supposedly only sold 44,000 pay-per-views at $25 a pop. Not very good numbers. They routinely are losing, if not hundreds, at least tens of millions of dollars on each one of these Riyadh season fight cards. We know that the boxing model typically has the boxers taking home 70% of the pay, and 30% of the pay goes to the actual promotion and everything else. The UFC routinely takes home 80% of the pay, gives 20% to the fighters. A very easy way to recoup those losses that Turkey Al-Sheikh has experienced is to create a organization in Riyadh outside the purview of the Muhammad Ali Act and just build a model like the UFC, but just for boxing. So, Collin,
that does concern me then.
yeah, I'm going to ask you 4 questions for Colin's crystal balls.
Oh boy.
How long until the sanctioning bodies, the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, begin to try to establish restrictive contracts, not allowing fighters to go to whatever this new Turkey Al-Sheikh Dana White boxing series is?
I think it will take a little while.
Okay.
I think they'll be like kind of hopeful or maybe just asleep at the wheel, which has happened before. And it won't be until that they've started to gain momentum, and it will almost be like either A, it's going in the direction like they all have to unite to do this and protect, some of the remaining fighters who are there, and they have to like sign someone really quickly, or it'll be like the slow or actually pretty quick demise of boxing as it converts over to this new boxing league.
So give me a ballpark time then.
I'd say so that this new boxing league is not going to have their first fight card until I think next year, 2026. So
Maybe.
I think end of 2026, maybe.
Okay.
That would be on the earlier end, though. At earliest, I should say then.
Okay. Second question. Knowing that in the press release about this, they said the goal of this partnership was to evolve and reimagine the boxing model and change the fundamentals of the sport.
Oh, boy.
How quickly do you think other boxers will line up to get in on this to try to save goodwill and get a better contract with this organization?
I think a lot of them will try to get in early, but I think some of them will be duped. I think they will think it's like some of the paydays that some of these other boxers have been getting before the establishment of this league, and I think a lot of them will flock over, but it will be only a handful of them will get like decent contracts. I think most of them it will be one of those like they've been had moments.
Mm-hmm. How quickly will the establishment of this organization and like the quote unquote showing of its efficiency, how quickly will that be used as leverage to try to repeal the Muhammad Ali Act in the United States of America?
Oh man. Yeah, I could see that quietly happening, like by the end of next year or early 2027.
Yep.
God, this is a depressing segment. Why are all of my crystal balls a depressing like questions? Like, come on.
Yeah, and then next year, removal of the Ali Act. Okay, and last one. Do you think one of the first titles, or I guess, how likely do you think one of the first titles, weight class titles in this organization, will be a title fight between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz?
Ugh. I hope never.
But if like there was gonna be one, like, because Conor's not fighting MMA again, but he might box for a fake ass belt.
Yeah. Ugh. I could see that being one of their first cards.
Yeah, 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 yep. Likely Connor's on one of their first cards. It makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes
yeah.
sense.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
All right. How many of the fighters that are signed to Riyadh season just get rolled into this boxing league?
I think probably not many. Because again, this boxing league I assume is going to look like Dana White's Contender Series. You're gonna get a 10-10 contract for your fight, and you're gonna be
Mhm.
signed on for a like 8 or 9 fight contract. Since it will not need to adhere to the Muhammad Ali Act, um, they will hide what you get paid. They will sign you on for 10-10 and say like, hey, just like the UFC where we have constant content, like we will build your brand that way, but you have to give us like 8 fights on 10-10, and then we move you up to 12-12, yada yada. These
Mm.
big stars know that they don't need to do that, right? They can go with a
Okay.
smaller promoter. Like Tank Davis and Lamont Roach apparently did quite well. And that wasn't involving Riyadh. In a way, can pull numbers just fine in Japan. Uh,
Inoue signed with Riyadh though.
yeah, yeah, but like he signed for only what, a 2 or 3 fight deal. And like I'm sure he had like proper lawyers make sure that it wasn't a like really restrictive contract, that it was more of a like, hey, this is good for me, and then I can
God, I
just go
hope
back
so.
to having a promoter. Yeah. Same thing with like Tyson Fury or like Anthony Joshua, right? Because all of this Riyadh season stuff, it wasn't signed explicitly to that like Riyadh. They just like footed the bill. It was like they still have Matchroom and Eddie Hearn and Top Rank like as
Mhm.
their promoters over Oscar De La Hoya as their promoter, and so then they can
Okay.
still have matchroom fights against an Oscar De La Hoya managed client can fight an Eddie Hearn managed client or promoted client, and they can just put that somewhere else. It's not like they are legally tied to doing it in Riyadh. Riyadh just is offering those promoters a shitload of money for their
Got
fighters.
it. Okay, okay.
Um, but I think now they've done all of this to basically right damage domestic markets. Like a lot of American boxing fans can't go to fights anymore and haven't been able to in like 5 or 6 years unless it's a Tank Davis fight because they've all
Right.
been in Riyadh, right? And so now you just go, well, this is the place where it's happening. So if you want to be an up and comer, you have to do it with us. Otherwise, who
Mhm.
else is going to promote you, right? Because you're not a star yet.
I guess
And I
maybe
think
I misinterpreted what this league is gonna be, because I thought it was gonna be like the top talent is gonna be here, not like as a
I
building up contender series type thing, like you said.
I think in 6 to 8 years it'll be the only place top talent will be because
Oh.
right, if there's not enough, if you don't, if all of these young people sign there, if 600 young boxers sign to this organization, how are you even going to build up with your own independent promoter? How are you going to build up a record? How are you going to build up fanfare? How are you
Hmm.
going to build your name? If right, it's just like a rival MMA organization. Like, how can you compete when everyone just looks at this one? Um, I think that's kind of basically what's gonna happen is it's not it's going to be just like the UFC, right? Like it took the UFC a long time to become the dominant force. There was Pride, there was Strikeforce, there was all this stuff. But
Yeah.
over time, if it can just be where we keep you in a monopolistic, really restrictive contracts, and there's nowhere else to really go when you're a young fighter. What? Yeah, like we've seen how the UFC has done this playbook, like since it's like became big, right? There were other rival organizations, and we saw how they slowly took them all away, and now they'll have billions of dollars from the Saudi Arabian government to do that.
Mhm.
And Saudi Arabia, I'm sure, is interested in getting that return, right? Sign what the UFC roster has close to 800 people now. Sign 800
God.
boxers and begin to put on weekly fight cards that get the same promotional push that the UFC puts behind its stuff, or like did when it was really interested. Um, and then like, where are other young boxers going to be seen, right? How will these stars kind of emerge?
Mhm.
uh, it'll just slowly go away.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and yeah. I mean, this could spell the full monopolization and kind of death of like modern boxing in my mind, and making it much more like the UFC. Which again,
Yeah.
people get into boxing and MMA fighters want to get into boxing, and people like really like there will still be the amateur system, and like there is still a much higher worldwide participatory rate for boxing, but like yo, if you can't be making over 2 million for a fight, like how many boxers are gonna really continue like trying to be a boxer? Like there will
Right.
be no more Canelos or Mayweathers or Pacquiao's. There will no longer be these huge stars because it's it's yeah. So that's that, which leads me to another segment, which is anytime we talk about boxing, I feel like we get sad. So we're just gonna call it Stewart's Sad Sack Square, and this is
Oh
about
my
other things
god.
that are depressing in the boxing world. I've got 3 things for you. 1, in defiance of the Muhammad Ali Act, but the inaction of the Muhammad Ali Act, it requires it must be enforced by the plaintiff, right? It's not something where oh, now the Department of Justice will go after them or an independent court. It's just a grounds for a lawsuit. But the plaintiff, if the Muhammad Ali Act is violated, they have to be the one to initiate the court procedure. It doesn't just automatically happen.
Okay.
But one of the rules about that is you cannot sign lifetime contracts or extended egregious contracts. But Amanda Serrano has signed lifetime promotional contract with Jake Paul's Most Valuable Productions. It's probably just a gimmick, but it does show that already some fighters are going yeah, I'll waive that right. That's totally fine. And doesn't sound like anybody gives a shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. But what it also means, which is slightly good, is Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor 3 is happening in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, okay.
We like that. We like that.
Yeah.
That's not one of the 2 fights I wanted to tell you about. I believe on April 12th, we will be getting a boxing match between, you liked Rampage Jackson back in the day, right?
God, I heard about this. Fuck.
And Rashad Evans?
Oh my god.
Tell me, just give me 1 sentence about what you think about that fight.
Fuck this fight. No one needs this fight. No one asked for this fight. What the fuck are we doing here?
Did you hear about the other former MMA fighter fights on this card?
No.
Remember John McDessie?
No. Wait, who's that?
John McDessie is he was a Canadian fighter. He was around like back in, I want to say like pre-2010 UFC.
Okay.
Kind of a short guy. I believe he fought out of the TriStar gym. He was like a pretty like dynamic kicker. Like he's got wins over, let's see, Ross Pearson, Ignacio Bahamundes he beat. He beat Abel Trujillo. I'm trying to like what.
Oh, he was also at Rofasport at one point.
Yeah, like he had a good fight with Donald Cerrone where Donald Cerrone head kicked him when Donald Cerrone was on that big run. Beat Sam Stout, Darren Cruikshank, Dennis Hallman.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so like a big fighter in like 2010, 12, 13.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be taking a boxing match, even though he's primarily a kicker, against the person we all want to be receiving more brain damage. Actually, we don't. It's very sad. Diego Sanchez.
What?
Yeah, Diego Sanchez will be fighting against John McDessie on this card as well. Collin, in all earnestness, do you think that whoever gave sanction to this boxing match, whatever state organization allowed for Diego Sanchez to get a boxing license, should be investigated for dereliction of duty?
Yeah, wait, what? How was any of this like proposed, greenlit? Like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, my big guess is none of these guys are actually going to get their full paychecks. That's probably my guess about how.
Yeah, Jesus.
But yeah, pretty bad, right?
Yeah, yeah, really. I did not know. I was just upset about the other one, but now this kind of like, ugh, this is just gross now.
Yeah, it is very gross. But that's the end of Stewart's Sad Sack Square, and I've got one cool, exciting fight to tell you about. It's cool and exciting only in a silly way. Similarly,
all right.
like the Jalen Turner, Ignacio Bahamundes fight, where we go, wow, look at those 2 big fellas. They're going to fight. We've got a fight coming up in KSW that is 2 monstrous fellas.
Okay.
World's Strongest Man, Eddie Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Former World's Strongest Man, Mariusz Pudzianowski, or I don't know how his nickname isn't Big Pud, because it's Pudzianowski, and I'm like, he should be called Big Pud. These 2 massive men, I think each weighing over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Will get into the ring and try to kill each other.
I did hear a rumor, or I did see like a snippet or something announced on social media. So yeah, this is also just throw to the bin of freak show fights right now. Like,
yeah. Now, Collin, if you had to take a guess, don't look it up. How many MMA fights do you think Mariusz Pudzianowski has had?
I want to say 0.
Really?
Yeah. Like, why would he?
Mariusz Pudzianowski is 50 years old. He is 17-9-1. My boy's out here with 27 fights.
As also a professional strongman.
I think it's been post his strongman career because he was the professional strongman. We're talking what? Oh no, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. He quit in 2009. And when did he get his first MMA fight?
I mean, that was 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah, 2009
Jesus.
he had his first fight. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's fought the likes of Tim Sylvia, James Thompson, Sean McCorkle, Bob Sapp,
What?
Ollie Thompson. Who else we got on here? Holes Gracie Jr., Jay Silva. Like, this is all right. It's not bad.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
He's a 50-year-old man. He also was in a death metal band. It's pretty cool. And we all know Eddie Hall, giant man. So when we're sad that both Diego Sanchez's bones turned to dust and Rampage and Rashad have like one of the worst fights ever, we can turn on whatever this fight will look like, hoping that it's kind of like a sort of like the Hulk slamming like the Thing through the ground, or like a literal like superhero fight as two giant men deadlift each other and chuck each other into the stands, killing many bystanders.
Well, I showed you that clip of Eddie Hall fighting the two people, like, where he just chucked one person across the ring.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, but like, and Pudzianowski can like actually like he can throw a punch, and he's got a lot of mass behind him.
Yeah. Mass boosts mass, and goddamn, like,
yeah. So they will be, they'll be thrown down in MMA. Kind of crazy.
Wow.
So this has been Two Fight Fans Podcast. We've talked about UFC 313, a very strange card. The like foreshadowing the death of kind of boxing as we know it as a sport overall that isn't controlled by a monopoly. Sad things in boxing. And then a fun little silly fight for fun little silly boys.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm one fine fan, Stuart.
I'm the other Collin.
Alex Morono, if you're listening, I believe in you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.